There's a very strange reward system in the workplace. You do something well, you get more of it. You finish your work quickly, you get someone else's work. You solve a problem nobody else could figure out? Congratulations, that problem now belongs to you forever. At some point, you start wondering, wait, is being good at my job actually a terrible career strategy? Because you look around and somehow the person who gets things done is also the person who gets asked to do everything. Today, we're going to talk about why that happens, how being dependable can quietly turn into being overloaded, and how to stay the person who does great work without becoming the office junk drawer. You know the junk drawer. Everything goes in there because nobody knows where else to put it. We don't want to be the junk drawer. Usually, becoming the go-to person starts out as a good thing. Someone asks, "Do you know how to do this?" You do, so you help. A few weeks later, "Ask Michelle, she knows how to do that." Okay. Then Michelle did that last time. Then Michelle usually handles that. Wait, when did I know how to do that become I am now responsible for that? There was no meeting. There was no announcement. There was no ceremonial passing of the spreadsheet. It just happened. This is how a lot of invisible responsibilities get added to our jobs. Not through formal assignments, through repetition. You help once, then twice, then 3 times. And eventually, something that started as a favor becomes an expectation. I call this the competence tax. The better you are at solving problems, the more problems seem to find you. And it makes sense. If I need something done and I know Jane will get it done correctly, on time, and without requiring 6 follow-up emails, I'm probably going to ask Jane. That doesn't necessarily mean anyone is deliberately taking advantage of Jane. They may simply trust her. But trust can create workload. And if nobody's paying attention to how much workload that trust is creating, Jane eventually becomes responsible for her job plus a strange collection of other things she accumulated because she was helpful. And there's another problem. Jane probably makes it look easy. That's what competent people do. They figure it out. They handle it. They don't create a lot of drama around it, which means other people may have absolutely no idea how much extra work Jane is doing. From the outside, everything looks fine because Jane keeps making everything fine. Here's another weird one. You get your work done quickly. Wonderful. Except sometimes efficiency is rewarded with, "Oh, you have some time? Can you help with this?" Meanwhile, someone who takes twice as long appears completely booked. This can teach us a terrible lesson. Maybe I should work slower. No. Please don't start dramatically staring at that same Excel spreadsheet for 47 minutes just to protect yourself. The problem isn't that you're efficient. The problem is that efficiency and availability are being treated as the same thing. They're not. Finishing something early doesn't necessarily mean you have nothing else to do. Maybe you finished it early because you have another priority. Maybe you need thinking time. Maybe you need to prepare for tomorrow. Maybe you need to work on that project that keeps getting pushed aside. Empty space on your calendar is not automatically community property. This is where I want you to start paying attention. When someone asks you to take on something extra, what happens to the work you were already supposed to do? It's usually one of 3 things. You squeeze the new work in and work faster. You push your own work later, or you quietly work longer. And if you keep making those adjustments without saying anything, the organization gets some very misleading information. It looks like your workload is manageable. Look, everything got done. What nobody sees is that you skipped lunch, moved your project to tomorrow, and answered emails while eating cereal over the kitchen sink at 7:30 that night. Okay, maybe that last one is oddly specific, but you get the idea. When we absorb additional work without showing the trade off, people don't see the cost, they only see the result. Now, I'm not going to tell you to just say no. That advice sounds wonderful until the person asking is your boss. No, thank you, Susan. I'm protecting my energy. Probably not. Instead, I want you to get comfortable showing the trade off. Let's say your manager asks, can you put together the numbers for tomorrow's meeting? Instead of automatically saying, sure, try, absolutely. I'm working on the quarterly report this afternoon. Which would you like me to prioritize? That's very different from saying no. You're saying, I can do this, and here's the work already on my plate. You're making the trade off visible. That little conversation is incredibly important because now your manager has information she didn't have before. She might say, the numbers are more important. Push the report to tomorrow. Great. Now you have permission to move the report. Or she might say, oh, never mind. I can get those from Kevin. Also great. But what you didn't do was quietly shove the report aside, complete the numbers, and spend the rest of the week wondering why you can't keep up. There's another conversation we need to have. Sometimes you should help. Someone is out sick. A coworker is learning something new. There's a big deadline. The team is slammed. You know how to fix something, and it would be ridiculous not to help. Fine, help. But temporary help needs an expiration date because otherwise, can you handle this while Jennifer is out? Has a funny way of becoming, you handle this. 3 months later, Jennifer is back. Jennifer has gone on vacation. Jennifer has returned from vacation. Jennifer has possibly forgotten this task ever existed, and you're still doing it. So when you take on temporary work, define what temporary means. I can handle this through Friday. I can take care of this while Jennifer is out. I'll do this one, and then can we decide who should own it going forward? That last sentence is useful because you're helping without accidentally adopting the task. This one may sting a little if you're the person everyone comes to for answers. Sometimes we train people to keep coming to us. Someone asks, how do I do this? We think it will take me 2 minutes to do it and 10 minutes to explain it. So we do it. 2 minutes, done. Fantastic. Until they need it again and again and again. And now you've spent 42 minutes saving yourself from that 10-minute explanation. Sometimes the faster choice today creates more work tomorrow. So when the same questions keep coming back, stop rescuing and start transferring knowledge. Show them. Create instructions. Point them to the resource. Have them do it while you guide them. Your goal should not be, I can fix everything. Your goal should be, not everything needs me to fix it. This is a much more sustainable kind of competence. Here's something I want you to try this week. Every time you do something that feels slightly outside your actual responsibilities, write it down. Not because you're building a legal case against your coworkers. We're just collecting information. At the end of the week, look at the list. Ask, why am I doing this? Is this actually part of my role? Did I agree to this temporarily? Am I the only person who knows how? Did I volunteer for this 6 months ago? Did someone simply start sending it to me? Does anyone even know I'm still doing it? You may discover that a surprising amount of your workload exists because of history rather than intention. That doesn't mean you immediately stop doing all of it Monday morning. But now you can start deciding what should stay, what should move, what should be taught to someone else, and what needs a conversation. I want to leave you with this. Being the person people trust is a good thing. Being dependable is a good thing. Being knowledgeable is a good thing. Being efficient is a good thing. We don't want to lose any of that. The goal isn't to become less helpful so people leave you alone. The goal is to make sure your competence is helping you grow instead of simply increasing the number of things you're expected to carry. Because there's a big difference between this person is valuable because they can handle anything and this person is valuable, so let's give them everything. You want the first one. You definitely do not want the second. So the next time somebody says, "Can you take care of this? You're so good at it." You can appreciate the compliment. And then ask the very important follow-up question. Where does this fit with everything else I'm responsible for? Because being good at your job should make your work more valuable. It shouldn't just make your pile bigger. If this sounds a little too much like your workday, take my Workday type diagnostic. Your Workday type can tell you a lot about why certain kinds of work keep piling up and where you can start making your workday feel lighter. Because making work feel lighter starts with knowing your Workday type. I'm Michelle, the Workweek Whisperer, and I'll see you next time.